Bernat Softee Baby 3-ply yarn in Soft Lilac, and you'll need about 220 yards of yarn for this hat. You'll need a contrasting color of yarn if you're working the provisional cast on, size 6 double-pointed needles. Then you'll need a 16-inch circular needle, size 6. Then you'll also need a cable needle, or you can use one of your double-pointed needles, a stitch marker, a crochet hook that matches the size of your needle, so we'll need a size G, and that's to work our provisional cast on, measuring tape. You'll also be needing a size E or 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, and the colors for your flowers. So we're going to have like white, yellow, then there's going to be different shades of pink, purple, any color you want your flowers to be. And a sewing needle. So first you want to start off by doing your provisional cast on, and I have a video on this, how to do the crocheted provisional cast on, so you can go ahead and watch that first, then come back here. So you want to go ahead and do your provisional cast on and cast on 21 stitches. Once you've done that, we're just going to purl all stitches with our purple yarn. So once you've done the first purl row, we're going to start our pattern stitch. So you want to start off by slipping the first stitch. Then we're going to knit 3, and then you want to place a marker. Then we're going to purl 2, knit 9, then you want to purl 2, place a marker, and knit 4. For row 2, you want to slip the first stitch, knit 5, pass your markers when you come to them, then we're going to purl 9, then we're going to knit 6. And these stitch markers are just here to separate our side stitches from our cable in the center. Row 3, you want to start off by slipping the first stitch, knit 3, pass your slip marker, then you're going to purl 2, so now we're going to slip the next 3 stitches and hold them in the back, Then we're going to knit 1 from our left needle. And then knit the 3 off our cable needle. Then knit 1 stitch from our left needle. Then we're going to slip the next stitch on our needle and hold it in the front of our work. Knit 3 from our left needle. And knit the 1 from our cable needle. Then we're going to purl 2. Pass our stitch marker and then knit 4. For row 4, you want to start off by slipping the first stitch, knit 5, purl 9, knit 6. So then we're just going to keep repeating those 4 rows to form our pattern. So here's more of what the pattern looks like. And you're just going to keep repeating those 4 rows until your band measures 22 inches in length, and then we'll come back. But that's what our cable will end up looking like. So once you've completed your band, now we're going to take out our provisional cast on and use the Kitchener stitch to sew our ends together. So here's the end that we ended up putting together. Just a small seam on the inside. Now if you want, you can just do a 3 needle bind off. The seam will be a little thicker, but it should be fine. You can also not do the provisional cast on and just sew your 2 ends together. Kind of be the same thickness as a 3 needle bind off. If you want a smoother seam, then do the provisional cast on and work the Kitchener stitch to sew it together. So I have a video for both provisional cast on and Kitchener stitch that you can go watch to see how to put yours together. So once you have your band sewn, now we're going to pick up our stitches along the top here to start the top of our hat. So you want to go ahead and get your size 6 circular needles. And we're going to be picking up our stitches. So with the right side of your band facing you, we're going to take our yarn and hold a small tail on the inside of our hat. Take our needle and we're going to insert it along the edge, wrap it like a knit stitch, and pull a loop through. So now that's our first stitch. So now we want to continue that along this whole band until we get 80 stitches total. So since we already picked up this one, we're going to go ahead and pick up 79 more. So you can pre-count to make sure that you put them evenly, but just make sure if you pick up, like you see how there's a ridge and then there's a blank spot. Depending on where you pick them up, just pick them up the same along the whole thing to space them evenly. So just continue to wrap as if you're knitting to pull our loop forward along this whole top rim until we have 80 stitches. So once you have your 80 stitches picked up along the top of your band, you're just going to go ahead and place a marker and continue knitting every row until your hat measures 7 inches from the bottom of the band. So once you have your 7 inches from the bottom of the band, we're going to start our crown decreases, and at any point when your stitches get tight, you can switch over to double pointed needles. So you want to begin a repeat of knit 8, knit 2 together, and you're going to repeat that all the way around, and that's going to take our count down to 72 stitches. Then for row 2 and all even rows, we're just going to knit a plain round. For round 3, you're going to start a repeat of knit 7, knit 2 together, then you're just going to repeat that all the way around, and this takes our count to 64. For round 5, you're going to start off with a repeat of knit 6, knit 2 together. And then you're just going to keep doing the decrease pattern this way, where every other row it's 1 stitch less than the time before. So like this is knit 6, knit 2 together. The next decrease row would be knit 5, knit 2 together. And in between all the decrease rows, you're just going to do a plain knit row until you end up with 16 stitches in total. So once you're down to your 16 stitches, we're going to do our final decrease row, and that's going to be knit 2 together the whole round. So if you have any stitch markers, you can take them off now. And if they're not removable, you can just slip them off, slip the stitch off, remove it, and then go back. So round 17 is just knit 2 together all across. So every stitch, just going to knit them together. And this will leave you with 8 stitches. Then once you're done, you're going to cut your yarn and finish off the opening by pulling it tight closed, and then you'll have your finished hat. So to start off our flower, so you can leave your hat just like our center color. So for this, we're going to go ahead and embellish it with some flowers. And you're going to take your hook and create a slip knot. Any way that you make your slip knot will be fine. And then we're going to chain 3. Then we're going to slip stitch in our first chain to form our ring. Then we're going to chain 2. And work 9 half double crochets in our ring. So half double crochet, we yarn over first, insert our hook into the center of our ring, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through our 3 loops on our hook. And if you don't know how to half double crochet, I have a video on slip knots, chaining, and half double crochet. And as you're working your half double crochet, you can work around your tail and work it into the flower so you don't have to weave them in later. So we're just going to continue until we've worked our 9 half double crochets in our ring. Then once you've worked your 9 in your ring, then you're going to slip stitch to our chain 2. And that is our middle piece. So now we're just going to go ahead and cut our yarn and weave in our ends. So once you have your center with all your ends cut off, we're going to go ahead and get our petal color. So we're just doing a white. Leave a small tail behind your center. And we're going to pick up a loop. So just pick up any stitch on the side of your center piece and draw up a loop. So now we're going to make our layer of petals. So we want to start off by chaining 3. Then we're going to do what is a triple crochet 4 together, which is technically 4 unfinished triple crochets, and then you pull them together. So in our next half double crochet stitch, which is right here next to our chain, we're going to do 4 treble crochets. So you double yarn over, go into your stitch, pull up a loop, then you yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and leave 2 on your hook. Now we're going to double yarn over, go in that very same stitch, pull up a loop, then yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops. So now we're leaving 3 loops on our hook. So now we're going to double yarn over, go through that same stitch, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, so now we have 4. We're going to do it one more time. We want a total of 5 loops on our hook. So after we do our double yarn over, we're going to go in that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So now we have 5 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 5. And if you have to, you can go through one at a time to make sure that you don't snag your yarn. And there's our first petal. So after that, you're going to chain 3. And you're going to go down into your base to the very next half double crochet, and you're going to slip stitch. So just insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through the loop on your hook. And then your petal may possibly turn inside out like this. So you're just going to push it through to the front and pop it out like that. So there's your first petal. So now we're going to repeat that until we have a total of 5 petals around our center. So once you've worked your last petal and you do your chain 3, then you're just going to slip stitch in that final space of your base of your flower. And pull it through. And now your small flower is done. So you're just going to cut your yarn and weave in your ends. So then when you have everything all weaved in, then you have your small flower. So you're just going to make a couple of these in any color combination that you want. And you can also make some of these bigger ones. I'll have a separate video going up after this one so I don't make this one too long. That'll teach you how to do the second layer of the flowers. But you're going to make a bunch of different big ones and little ones and whatever size you want to put on your hat in whatever kind of color. Then you're just going to go ahead and tack them to the hat as you see fit, and your Rapunzel